Hello and welcome to the Role Models podcast that we usually film at Authentic Collectables HQ in Western Australia, but we are at another iconic WA venue right now, William.
The two big ones, really, when you think about
Absolutely.
it. Our office and
Wanneroo Raceway, carco.com.au Raceway, basically our second home for the vast majority of our
adult lives.
unfortunately increasingly long lives. Actually not unfortunately increasingly long, probably good that they're getting longer.
Yes, absolutely.
I think we've earned these drinks, William. We've been here all weekend, all week.
Feels like
was a
we've
big
been
week.
for a long time.
Home race is a big week.
I actually have told a few people this weekend that I actually hate our home race.
It's hard.
Because yes, you get to sleep in your own bed, etc., but it's an hour and 15 for me to get here.
You would never book a hotel an hour and 15 minutes away from the track if you were traveling.
Not. Like it just, and why we don't book a hotel up here ourselves.
I think we might do that next year because I think my colleague Stefan was quite upset when he hopped in the car and saw just how long it was going to take to get from Fremantle to Wanneroo.
I mean, very convenient for you and this hotel.
Anyway, it's it is home races. Just there's always stuff on, and then you kind of want to. You know, you've got friends and family you want to show around, and sort of it's very hectic. It was a whole lot of fun. We're here on the Monday. There's actually a ride day going on here today. So there's been supercars on track. You may well hear them in a moment. There's a lot of activity in the background, a lot more than there usually would even on a ride day here because these teams are actually prepping to go straight to Darwin. So the trucks will leave here probably tomorrow night, Tuesday night, to put a timestamp on it and actually head straight to Darwin. So there's Indigenous liveries being applied right below us in the garages. There's a lot of prep work. There was a new motor going to Cooper Murray's car because of the one that expired.
Drama yesterday.
In the race on Sunday. So
speaking of race cars,
yep, there goes a race car. So there's a fair bit going on at the track, which is why we thought we'd come here and record.
And I mean, normally at a ride day, you might have 2 or 3 teams would stick around and do a ride day. But yeah, we've got absolutely everyone. In fact, the only trucks that have left are supercars.
Yeah,
are the official supercars trucks.
Yep, they are the only ones.
Everyone else is still here, and everyone's basically still set up as they were yesterday afternoon.
That is exactly right. So let's just run over some of the usual Role Models housekeeping.
Yes, housekeeping.
Remember to keep an eye out for the code word if you've got a chance to win a $250 Authentic Collectible gift card. Now, the winner from last episode is on the screen now.
I hope.
Is that long enough?
Yeah.
That's long enough. Let's let Chaz go past us there. How was the weekend, Will?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. I mean,
what did you learn?
Well, actually, I learned a lot. Other than Ryan Wood is going to be a very, very good race car driver.
Yeah, I don't think
not that we didn't know that ahead of time.
I don't think there's any great surprise to the fact that, like, what we saw, it was always going to happen, but it's still monumental when you kind of see it happen and you see this transformation. I think it really the Saturday, both Saturday races, to be honest, because he would have won the second race had the control arm not failed. His time management was exceptional, and if you think back to here a year ago, where he qualified on the front row, he led the race, but he was just nowhere near good enough at managing the tyres at that point. No. So winning a race was always going to be so difficult for him.
Third, 4th round in last year, like it definitely.
That's right. So what he has learned in that time, and yes, the new soft tyre is pretty durable, but he has still just improved so much.
We still definitely saw rears going off on a number of cars, and it just didn't happen with him. He just managed it really, really well.
He did a good job. So I think he's, and I think you could see the monkey came off his back so fast that for race 2 he just looked like, wow, look at this guy go.
Yeah.
Obviously he had that failure.
Yeah, I was going to say, interesting that we saw those failures. We probably haven't seen. And they weren't the same failures.
No, they were the same
in
part
the same area.
They were the same part of the car. So in Woody's one, it actually pulled the weld in where the rod end screws into the control arm.
And the other was a rose.
The other one was the actual rose joint itself. Yes, that snaps, like the bolt that screws into the arm just completely snapped. So there was some theories that whether it was overusing the sawtooth curve on the exit of 5 up there, is that there's quite a sharp drop off there. But Supercars basically put a bulletin out on Saturday night just saying, here's what happened with these two cars, and we don't really think it's related.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, in Cooper Murray's case, it was determined that it was from contact with another car.
Yes.
And then Woody's one was just a failure. You said they'd crack tested everything. There was no real reason for it to happen except for the fact that it happened.
Just odd.
Yeah. So that was that obviously brought Woody's momentum undone a little bit there.
I mean, they do hit that exit curb bloody hard.
Yep.
So, you know, that could have weakened everything, but and just the sawtooth curb kind of finished it off.
Yep.
But
I mean, it was odd they were in exactly the same spot.
Yeah.
Where that happened. So a similar component failed. But...
Well, and Jackson had the whole wheel bloody fall out of his.
Well, that was on the other side of the car, and it was because the wheel wasn't actually ever connected to the car properly. Yeah. So that was not related to any. It was not a failure as such. It was a failure for the wheel to be stuck onto the car.
Yeah.
Which was the issue there. What about news? What was the news kicking around on the weekend? I should probably know the answer to this. We did have a we had quite a lengthy sort of first round table with James Warburton, the incoming CEO, who starts in late July, although he's kind of technically started already.
Yeah.
But so we had it was interesting. Have a chat with him.
He sort of talking to a few people up and down the paddock. Everyone seems quite excited by the fact that he's back.
Yeah, he's
and many of the decisions that sort of we're looking forward to, you know, new TV deal, the street race here, things like that, they're already done. You know, they've been done off his watch. He'll probably get the kudos for them.
Yeah, he gets the
victory
victory
lap. Roll out. Yeah.
Well, given the fact he's come from Seven West Media, he sort of gets to do a double victory lap on the TV deal when it does get announced that it's Fox Sports and 7 again.
That's
so he gets two cracks at that one. He can say he got it done on both sides.
Broken it on both sides. But as I say, everyone is sort of super excited on what potentially could come.
And I think that's what will happen in terms of with the TV deal. He said the deal was done, basically. They're sorting out the contracts, but the deal is done. I don't think we'll get an announcement until he does start, because I think you want to, but you need someone there to do the victory lap. You need someone there to say, how good is this? You know, so I reckon by late July we could have some news on the TV front.
There's some interesting chats about this, you know, Asian series stuff. I know Puntersville's kind of going a bit mad about it, but I'm not entirely sure they've kind of got their head around exactly what
it's a complicated notion, and it's actually something that race has been talking about since the start. This is something that Barclay in particular has been sort of up and about with, which is to just make another championship. I'll tell you, this championship other places is difficult. Yeah. So let's just make another one. Yeah. And that was initially, and James said this, so that was the original race idea was heavily based around working with Formula One management and getting on those Grand Prix, whereas this could just be, he sort of mentions Asia. He wasn't running by 2027, basically. Yeah. These teams had the option of buying into it. They don't have to buy into it. There will still be a 14-round Australia-New Zealand championship, and that will be the championship, and then there'll be this separate Asian series.
You can go and play in if you want.
He sort of it got a bit messy because he said, oh, well, maybe we can use the duplicate kit cars for New Zealand as well. And I sort of said, so is New Zealand not part of the Asian Championship or but we could just use the cars, but that's kind of complicated.
Again, if teams don't.
Exactly. If you don't, you know, so you might have, because they want Asian teams running some of these cars as well. Like they want other teams that aren't involved in supercars to be involved in this Asian supercar.
Oh, and I can see it getting a bit messy from the point of view of, you know, those Asian teams, if they exist and are racing up there, you know, well, we want to come and play at Adelaide. Yeah. For instance. So then there's the wildcard situation open up where we have...
It's a heavily interesting concept.
Sort of like the Trans Am TA2 kind of.
Yeah. So
two championships that run independently, but then occasionally...
2027 feels awfully close to pull something like that together, but that is the timeline that he's working towards. And the thing is with James is he's a doer.
Yes. Oh yeah, man, we've seen that.
Like he is an absolute doer, and he'll just get in there and do stuff. So That was very interesting. 14 rounds for next year. So
And that seems to be the number. Like everyone, it's 14.
And that's what we are going to have next year. He said that as well in no uncertain terms. Real Puna is an addition. It's not, it will not replace something. So I would imagine that calendar is going to look very much the same as this year's calendar, but with Real Puna on it.
Yep.
Which means a nice little couple of weeks holiday in New Zealand, which I'm not all that sad about.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, so that was it was interesting.
What about here? So there was some discussion across the weekend too of like a 10-day, obviously with the street race, a sort of a 10-day motorsport festival type scenario.
Yeah, I think
what did you glean from that?
I think there's not too many details on it, except for the fact I think the idea is to try and use this facility for something. It won't be for supercars racing. No. James is very clear on that. There won't be a double header round or anything like that, so there'll be no supercars racing here, but he talked about drag racing. I would imagine you'd be better off using Motorplex if you're going to try and go down that path. And I think they will use Motorplex as well, because I think it's all about, you know, the way the state government tries to be inclusive of all these venues and these permanent venues as part of this street race kind of thing. So I reckon there'll be stuff at Motorplex. We know Motorplex is quite like Roger Cook is. I think that's his electorate, right? Is it in Kwinana? Yeah. So that's there. I think that's a good opportunity and a good tie-in for the government to sort of spruik its spending and all that sort of stuff.
I think it was Friday I saw Gavin Migro here, who is the GM of Motorplex. So there was obviously discussion.
Veronica McCann was here. Chris Mitchell, a lot of the guys from Motorplex were here. Yeah. So I don't know if they were discussing anything or whether they were just.
It is a motorsport event. You'd expect motorsport people to be here.
Gav's also just a racing car guy that loves racing cars, so he may well.
Maybe we were reading too much.
He may as well just been. I actually had that same conversation with Steph. Did see these guys here, but I'm pretty sure I see them here every year, so I'm not sure there was any. But maybe maybe there was a discussion about that. I think they would try and use that facility. So I think that what Supercars does desperately need is a marquee event to open its season.
Yes.
We can't do what we did this year. We can't do what we did last year. We haven't had a good event to open the season since Newcastle. Yeah. So we need something like that.
Something that you can really, that particularly broadcast can hang their hat on as being a marquee event.
Yeah, definitely.
Which would be really good.
So I still think it would be a good thing.
It's still on motorsport, but not around this venue or this state. 12 months ago, we did one of these. We did one of these on location. Yep. And we were out in the middle of nowhere.
I know, at Fink. Yeah, I was
and the cars wrapped up this morning. I don't know the bike result, but the cars finished this morning.
Trav Robinson.
1-2.
Yep.
First brothers to go 1-2.
That'll be nice, because it was obviously last year it was really emotional for Bo winning it. Their father passed away, and they'd never won that event. And he won that event, and now to have both Robinson boys having won, I kind of like the way that's played out. I reckon,
and for number 50,
I reckon for we'd have to drink a lot of these beers to go even close to what those boys will be doing
tonight
at Sporties. Yeah. Oh, not even tonight. At Sporties in the middle of Alice Springs right now. I reckon there's a pretty good party going on. And even when this podcast comes out in 2 or 3 days, it might still be going.
It's still going.
I saw those boys go last year, and boy, oh boy, was it impressive.
Yeah, well, next year, hopefully it doesn't collide with anything.
Yep.
And we'll be back there.
Yeah.
Podcasting again from the bush.
But having it nice and butted up against Darwin is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's the way for it to work.
Yeah.
Brilliant when it works like that. That was a real highlight.
It was a good trip.
Yeah, I was very jealous watching all the social videos and all that sort of stuff of people being out there.
I downloaded some of the content this morning of the cars rolling out of Fink this morning. Yeah. I was like, that's very cool.
We got to go deeper. We got to go deeper into the stage.
We do.
I reckon next time. Let's just commit. Take the Starlink and just really commit to it.
I know the Starlink works this time. We had a bit of a failure last year with Starlink. So.
Anyway, what's happening in model car world, William?
Model car world. So we don't have all of our usual prompts, etc., in front of me. So be sure to. I mean, we've released a fair bit of stuff over the last month or so. So be sure to get onto our website, AuthenticCollectables.com.au. Have a look at our now in stock section. You'll see what we've released there. I'm sure Benny's running some B-roll of what we've released over the top of this. And announcement-wise, we really haven't done much in the last few weeks, but I know there's some plain body supercars on the agenda. And McFadden has given us the okay to release a dirty sprint car as well. So keep your eyes out on our website for that in the coming days, probably, for those ones. But again, AuthenticCollectables.com.au. Visit your local stockists as well. They'll have stock of everything we've released over the last few weeks. So
you may need to do a stock take, because I did see you leave 2 boxes of models in our garage here at the track.
I can almost see them from where we're sitting right now.
The chances of those boxes still being full
are absolutely, there's no chance.
No, they are going to get rated. You might want to just strike those ones for the record.
I think Stefan might have done the same, warehouse shopping.
I last saw Stefan with 2 models, one under each arm, disappearing off into his hotel to go to sleep to get up to get a plane this morning.
So the tech team for supercars were at our office this morning doing exactly the same type of shopping that I think you do.
There you go.
So yes, it's
I
good.
I love that rejects pile.
It's good to have everyone in town. We can have a few people like that come past our office and enjoy what we do.
All right, well, through the magic of television, before we started drinking these beers, we went for a bit of a roam around the pits, just to clarify for any OC health and safety types out there.
Found a few TPs floating around.
Yeah, we went and just had a chat with a couple of team bosses. One was Tim Blanchard, who was actually driving a Trans Am car here this morning. The car owned by our good friend Jason Pride.
If you think he looks a little flustered on camera, it's not because he was just talking to us. It's because he'd only just got out of a race car.
Pretty eye-opening experience for the bloke, but no, he did some laps and was pretty speedy actually.
Yeah,
he was pretty speedy. So he did some laps. So we had a chat with him about that, and obviously their breakthrough podium BRT as well with James Cordy on Sunday. And we had a chat with Bruce Stewart from WAU as well. So
who also had a pretty cracking weekend.
Well, yeah, I think he wished it was slightly less cracking in terms of like a suspension arm breaking. But
to see
whatever else was broken up, Woody and Golding had an almighty dust up at turn 4 behind us. But all right, anyway, let's go and have a look at that. Yeah, and we are joined by Tim Blanchard, co-owner of the Blanchard Racing team and a renowned race car driver in his own right. Let's start with that. It was a big weekend for the team, but let's start with what we're actually doing here on Monday at Wanneroo. You've just been cutting a few laps in a Trans Am car. Was that your first steer of a Trans Am car?
Yeah, I was trying to keep it quiet, but it's very hard in this industry to keep anything quiet. But yeah.
When there's cameras here, it makes it a bit hard, doesn't it?
So, yeah, I've kind of missed racing myself personally, and a bit of an opportunity came up to race Trans Am at Darwin, and it's an event I always love, race track I love going to, and Elliot Barber's a good friend. He's been twisting my arm for years now, saying you need to have a go to Trans Am. It's a great series, so I thought why not, and kind of all came together fairly late, and it wasn't really much of an opportunity to get some laps in the car, and then TA2 Trans Am were here over the weekend at the Supercar event. I was still here on Monday, and the stars aligned to be able to jump in Jason's car and do a few laps today.
Yeah, you drove a car that belongs to a very good friend of ours, Jason Pride. What were your thoughts on the car? Obviously, they kind of look a bit like a supercar and they sound a bit like a supercar. Do they drive like a supercar at all?
Yeah, after the first 5-10 laps, I was like very relieved we did today, because going out practice one in Darwin, having never driven one, would have been a tall ask. So very, very different to what I'm used to driving with a supercar. I was kind of explaining to you guys before, it's kind of a big, heavy Formula Ford. Like, you move around a lot, H pattern, full speed. It was actually a lot of fun. So kind of once I kind of got used to it a bit, long brake pedal, once I kind of got used to it, it was having a lot of fun.
That long brake pedal might get your attention at the end of that straight at Darwin. That's a long way down there, and it's a big stop.
It got my attention here today. I don't think we need to worry about too much Darwin yet.
Let's chat about the weekend. I mean, obviously yesterday, fantastic result for the team. First podium for BRT in supercars. A little bit of good fortune with the safety car and this and that, but you know, JC was there and he was quick enough to drive away from Cam Waters kind of when it mattered. So like, what's it like? It has been a tough initiation to supercars. If you think back to 2021 Bathurst, Slady right up the front, first race, you're thinking this is going to be real easy, and it hasn't been.
Yeah, we've done it the hard way, because we started the team from scratch, which has been well documented. Yeah, we didn't buy a team or anything and rebrand. We literally started from scratch. Had to go and buy all the equipment, recruit the staff, build the infrastructure. So it's been a long journey, and then going from 1 car to 2 cars was a massive step, which everyone says it's a big step, and they were certainly right. But it's been a hard journey, 4.5 years. We've been close a number of times. I think we've been 4th. I can't remember way too many times I'd like to remember, but it's been a fair journey. And yeah, we're probably a little bit fortunate yesterday, but we also we were kind of hovering around that 11th, 12th, and we were kind of in no man's land. So we made the strategic decision to run long because we had nothing to lose by staying out there and going for a safety car. So we were fortunate, but we also rolled the dice a little bit and kind of, were aware of the strategic position we were in and rolled the dice to keep going and hope for a safety car, which is what Matty Payne did as well. And so we were fortunate in the way it rolled out, but we put ourselves in that position. So some good calls. And when you're in those situations, 10 laps to go, podium on the line, there's no one better than James Courtney to hold on to it for you.
Yeah. And sort of there were a couple of points during the race where it really did feel like a safety car was on the cards. Like there was a bit of niggle going on in the paddock. So to sort of hang out there.
It's been a bit like that all year, and we're kind of talking about it in our strategic meeting before. There hasn't. I don't think there's been a safety car for a long time here. I don't think there's been one in Gen 3. And we're kind of saying, well, the probability of a safety car is fairly low, but then we're also kind of saying, well, that just means we're closer to the next one.
It's going to happen at some point.
We actually spoke about it in the strategy before the race a fair bit, but like I said, when there's a podium on the line, then James Courtney might be in his final year full time, but
that doesn't matter.
He's a fighter, and he wasn't going to let that slip.
Well, and as Andrew said, like the car pace there was good at the end. Like it's again, it comes back to that qualifying thing, isn't it? Like you qualify at the front, you're going to probably stay there.
We're pretty good on Friday. I think Saturday was a bit of a disappointment because we kind of went home with high hopes. It was a solid day Saturday, but we kind of went home with high hopes after Friday, and it didn't kind of translate across. But even in the races, we had reasonable pace. We were able to kind of hold on the tyre a lot longer, we felt. But then again, we qualified a little bit better on Sunday, but still not quite good enough. But we knew our race pace was reasonably good, and we held on towards the end of the stint better than others.
You mentioned James Courtney, his final year as a full-timer. He's pretty bullish about the fact he's not going to do any backflips and go racing again. As you sort of said, it's so easy to be like, he's been around for a long time. He's towards the end of his career. He's got all this other stuff going on in his life. But he is such an experienced, fast race car driver. That is going to be a hole for you guys to fill next year.
Yeah, he's a racer at heart. And you saw over the weekend when, he might have a lot of other things going on in his life these days, but, he fights pretty hard, and his racecraft is as good as anyone still today. So, it leaves a big hole in the team. So there's a lot of thinking to do over the next kind of 6 months as to what we do. We've obviously got Camo in the other car, so he's come along, like he's chipping away at it, and that, look at his Super 2 and all of his racing, he kind of chips away at it. He's not someone who gets out there and straight away and sets world on fire day one, but he kind of just starts where he starts, and he just, every time he gets in the car, gets better, and we're seeing that this year. It's effectively his third proper round with us this year, and he qualified JC on Saturday, won the sessions, and 17th yesterday, and he's kind of slowly just getting better and better. And so it's a hard road, but we're encouraged by what he's doing at the moment.
Does it sort of help you, a result like this, help you when you do have to go into the driver market?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone wants to be in a car capable of getting results, and I think the first 3 rounds it was a much harder sell, but we did a lot of homework and reflection after New Zealand, and came back with a bit of a different philosophy and to Tasmania, and took a good step forward at JC in the top 10 there, and then this week in podium, and just the vibe in the team and the way everyone's going about it, approaching the day every day, even the days in the workshop in the last 3-4 weeks have been a lot different. And here today you can see the difference in everyone's attitude. Their kind of shoulders are up, and I was pretty excited.
Cool. All right. Well, best of luck in the Trans Am in Darwin. We'll see you up in the top end.
This is the secret thing, isn't it? Like he's starting to get get his race miles back up. Maybe he's in the seat next year.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, just getting back into it. Getting back into it. No, thanks, Tim.
I think we can rule that out.
Thanks, TB.
Thank you.
And we're joined by Bruce Stewart, the CEO of Walkinshaw Andretti United. Bruce, we all knew Ryan Wood was going to win a race. We know he's probably going to win lots and lots of races, but what was it like seeing he is the protege? You guys went to great lengths to get him out of the Porsche system, get him in a Super 2 car, make him a winner in Super 2, and now he's a winner in Supercars. Like, that must feel amazing.
Yeah, it's bloody magnificent, to be brutally frank. Like, he's got such huge talent, and he's such an integral part of the team, the culture. Like the team genuinely love him. Like, he's like Chaz 2.0. He's just amazing, and even to go away at Christmas and then come back, everyone's talked about the 16 kilos lighter and all that kind of stuff, but he did that off his own bat. And, he gets it. He has the ability to make his crew just want to run through walls for him. And when he came back, you know, even in the workshop when he wasn't there, people were like, the kid's coming.
Yeah.
How good's a bloody kid? You know, like, have a look at it. You know, and that kind of stuff is just momentum. You're building stuff. So when that happened on Saturday, that was just wicked. You know, like
Pretty proud dad moment.
Oh, proud dad. You know, like I'm embarrassing proud dad. You know, like just like the dad barracking on the side of the sidelines. But you know what? Just so good, so good. So happy for our team. So happy for our owners. So happy for Truck Assist as well. Can you imagine the bravery it takes to back a rookie in? You know, and to be alongside Chaz Mostert. You know, like. You know, surely in your head somewhere, you're like, oh, are we going to be the second fiddle here and all of that? But they backed him in, and you know that, I guess, loyalty and what they put behind them was just paid off. It's just fantastic, and I'm wrapped for them.
Well, and it was sort of here last year, wasn't it? Where kind of he really did show.
I feel like he had this round circled on the calendar because he was so quick here with the Super 2 car.
Yeah.
A year after the Gen 2 Walkinshaw package hadn't really worked here, and he was in the main game, and he was rapid in the Super 2. He was quick.
Was terrible.
He led the race here last year, but he was still obviously learning about time management and that sort of stuff. But to go to the effort of bringing Greg Murphy all the way from New Zealand here, I feel like he came here
with a plan,
expecting to get something done.
Yeah.
And the whole weekend didn't quite pan out how he might have liked it in the races 2 and 3, but he got the win. It's such a big deal.
100%. And, you know, obviously in the Super 2, he was super competitive, you're right. And so came here and he knew the track. I'm just like really excited. Now that he got that monkey off his back, he had a race win. Like, you know, when we sat out here on Sunday morning with the whole crew and the kind of messaging was, you're no longer the kid.
Yeah.
You're no longer the kid who might, the kid who's got the potential. You did, you know, like, so he's you know, I called him embarrassingly a prize fighter. Like he's one of the big guns who's going out there to win races, and that's amazing to have alongside Chaz, who is that already and a long way into his career and shooting for championships. So it's a great thing for our team, you know.
You run the business, so you see the dollar figures. You have a commercial background. I think we know as a sport that we need personalities and we need celebrities. You've obviously got probably the biggest celebrity in the sport right now in Chaz Mostert in your team.
Yeah.
It feels like you kind of got the next big thing on that front as well, because he can drive a car, but as you say, he's such a infectious, fun person. He could become a huge star as well.
Oh, yeah. We want people in our team who reflect who we are as a team. You know, there were years and years we tried to emulate the best team in the category, and they are the best at being who they are. So, you know, hats off to 888 and Red Bull Racing, but for us, we have to be ourselves. And you know, when you started that resurrection, that Walkinshaw Andretti United with Chaz in the team, and then you have someone alongside who's Ryan Wood, who's just a huge personality and a cheeky little bastard. But, can I say that?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, but equally, you're just wonderful to have in the team, you know, and then who has this amazing ability. That's great because we're going to be who we are.
Yeah.
We're fighting for take this team to the top, and this is great momentum.
It's not, obviously, we're not anywhere near the end of the road for Ryan in terms of what he can achieve, but to think back to that day at Winton when he did that evaluation and Carl went, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
There's something special going on here. To see that come to fruition, that's a big deal as well.
Totally, you know, and hats off, you've got to back your experts, and Carl's a super expert. He knows what he's talking about. And that when he turned to me and looked me in the eye and said, this kid is special. We got to get him. And I was like, mate, he's got a contract. And he's like, just go get him. Go. No worries. Yeah, it's a great payoff for that confidence as well.
So the noise that we're currently dealing with here are your two cars banging around. But in a couple of weeks, they need to be in Darwin.
Yeah.
So talk to us about the logistics of, you know, most other teams have got cars in a million pieces already.
Yeah.
And your two are still servicing your partners, which is vitally important.
Totally.
How do we then turn around and get all this stuff to Darwin in
the crew
less than
will be
2 weeks?
Yeah, true. The crew will be here for another day at least. And then I would hope tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Vinny will take the truck and the B-double and head up to Darwin. The crew will fly back on Wednesday, get a couple of days off, and then we'll be back on a flight again on Sunday back to Darwin, and then prepping the cars and from Monday onwards in Darwin. So this is a big logistical exercise. It's it's costly. We talk about the budget, but it's we're here for the entertainment for the fans, and we've Darwin's a super important round for this sport, and it's Indigenous round as well. So we want to be respectful and do that properly. So
But that complicates it a bit as well because you've actually got to wrap cars.
yeah,
too.
correct, correct. Yeah, so we'll be doing that in Darwin.
Yep.
So in that respect, it's a big exercise, but completely worthwhile, and it helps when you got trophies on board the truck.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to be doing another road trip next year in your neck of the woods over in New Zealand. As a Kiwi, you must be excited by that.
Absolutely, and grew up in Christchurch, so
Really going home.
Exactly. Imagine how many rallies are hitting me up. Kiwis are so tight. No, anything.
Family has the same problem here.
No offense to my friends and family back home. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be great. I think a doubleheader will be epic, and it's great as a South Islander to get all the teams down the South Island and see the wonders of that part of the world as well. Just amazing. And I know Christchurch people are a lot like Melbourneites, so that they just go to the opening of a fridge door, So in that respect, there's a huge passion for sport. And so they'll be out in their droves at Ruapuna. And I heard you try and pronounce it the other day.
No, that was former legend. That wasn't me. I don't know where it did make me think, hang on, have I been getting it wrong all these years?
Yeah. Was it former? I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't me. Anyway, I spent most of the last week trying to work out what a Gantt chart was after you said that in a press conference in Tasmania. So that's...
Mate, I don't know. No, yeah. It's,
Doesn't involve dollars, you don't know what
once you're in them, you can't get out. They're amazing. Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, you spoke about opening of fridge doors.
Yeah.
What are you losing 16 kilos? What's the secret? Because I think you and I could both...
Yeah. No, thanks, Will. Appreciate being
I had to get one in. I had to get one in.
Yeah. No, so I'm working on a pretty big sponsorship deal with Jenny Craig, and I'm working on the before shot. So this isn't going to be long, and you want a really impressive before shot before you go down.
But there is some sort of push-up challenge or something going on with the team at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah,
Are you participating in that?
Oh my God. Yes, there is, but I'm just recovering from an operation, so I'm going to...
How many years ago was that?
Yeah.
You knew this was going to be a stitch-up.
Yeah.
I got you, finally.
Yeah, so no mirrors at Will's house, which is cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I think we should put a pin in this before it gets everywhere. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us, Bruce.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brucey.
Bastard, Will. Thank you. Cheers.
Well, I'm exhausted, so I think that will just about do us.
It's tough when you got to walk around.
I know.
It's hard.
I know.
It's hard work.
I meant from the week as a whole, to be honest.
Not just today, not just this morning.
But thank you for joining us for the latest role models. We will get to questions on the next episode. We know there was some flooding in, so thank you for getting in touch. We'll run through those next time. It's a bit hard to do it when we're out here in the wild and fast running out of motivation to do anything at all. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back at some point in the future with another episode of Role Models.
Thanks, guys.